Who are you expecting? Elon Musk?
If you didn't notice any plot holes or errors in Love, Death, and Robots, you probably weren't paying close enough attention. Have no fear though, we've got them all for you. Even a bit about that giant man-eating crab. Number 1. What's the truth about Sonnie?
Fear is my edge.
In the series' first episode, Sonnie's Edge, the series starts us right off with something that's just a tad confusing. Ultimately, we find out that the episode's main character, Sonnie, is actually a woman's consciousness that has been made into artificial intelligence. Complicated? Sure, but still a good bit of science fiction. Still, many fans of the episode wonder, why can she control the robot while also controlling a monster in the episode's futuristic cage fight? It seems that she should only be able to control one entire being at a time. But maybe in the future, when we can take over robots, we'll also be much better at multitasking. Number 2. The issue of Jan's body is less a plot hole situation and more of a confusing aesthetic choice.
Good hunting, Yan.
We're referring to Volume 1, Episode 8, Good Hunting. The episode takes place in a steampunk city and follows Liang, the son of a shapeshifter who is trained to fight demon shapeshifters. Liang falls in love with a shapeshifter named Yan who is violently attacked one night.
What are you doing here?
I need you to help me.
Liang decides to create a body for Yan, which is, romantic and all, but Yan's new body looks totally out of place in the world of this episode. Is Liang just ahead of his time? Or was this a major oversight in creative direction? Number 3. How intelligent can a clone be if what it's cloned from isn't intelligent?
It's true.
We're wondering the same thing. In Volume 3, Episode 6, Swarm, clones' intelligence comes into question. In a world after humans are gone, 2 scientists study the new species that is insect-like. There's an intelligence competition in which we find out that the cloned swarm is actually more advanced than its source species. Still, the swarm doesn't seem to be aware of its reality or what's going on, and that's a little bit suspect for a species that's especially intelligent.
We must harness its power.
Exploit it, you mean?
Number 4. What's with all the unnecessary destruction in this episode? In the second episode of Volume 3, Bad Traveling, a ship hunting sharks is attacked by a tanopod, aka this thing. To kill the tanopod, the main character, Torin, sets oil barrels on fire. The thing is, if he had just done this in the beginning, he would have gotten the tanopod, and he still would have been able to get everyone else out safely. So what's the deal, Torin? Why not save your crew? Number 5. How did Harper survive?
Okay, way to get the out of here.
In the penultimate episode of the 3rd volume, in Vaulted Halls Entombed, soldiers are supposed to save a hostage from terrorists. Unfortunately, it gets worse when there's a supernatural monster. In the last scene, we see that Harper no longer has eyes, which is unfortunately the only way she could save the world. She's also speaking only in an alien language. Still, it begs the question, how exactly did she get out alive? We may never know. Number 6. Why does Suits take place on Saturn? The first season's 4th episode, Suits, follows a group of farmers who defend themselves against an alien invasion with mechs that they've made themselves. It's definitely an interesting plot, and it makes for an enjoyable episode. Still, it's difficult not to wonder about quite a few things in this story. For starters, you may wonder why the farmers are the ones fighting the alien invasion rather than, say, the government or people who are actually trained for this kind of thing. The answer? Anyone's guess, really. It's never explained. Then the ending makes things even more confusing. The ending shows us the POV of space, and we discover that the entire episode actually took place on Saturn? Why are the humans on Saturn? What's the significance of Saturn? We can't seem to figure this out. Things taking place on Saturn does make sci-fi just a bit sci-fi-er, so maybe there's no point in thinking any deeper.
I never needed a beer so bad in all my life.
Number 7. What cat person doesn't love the idea of talking cats?
You are not going to explode if we stop petting you, right?
You guys better keep petting me, just to be sure.
Well, robots discover exactly that in one episode. The series' second episode, 3 Robots, is all about the world after humans are gone. In addition to the robots at the center of the story, we find out that cats are also alive and well, and they can actually speak.
Once we could open up our own tuna cans, that was pretty much that for the human race.
When the robots discover the talking cats, however, they're completely shocked. If they're that surprised by talking cats, then we're led to believe that the rest of the remaining animals on Earth can't talk. So why are cats now able to speak? We have no idea. Interestingly, this isn't the only time when unexplained chatty cats show up in the series. In the first episode of Volume 3, Three Robots Exit Strategies, not only can cats still talk, but they've also migrated to Mars. How are cats so powerful? Why are cats so powerful? Once again, cat people have been asking these questions for years, but when it comes to Love, Death, and Robots, we have no answers. Number 8. Time loops are kind of a science fiction staple, but what is the deal with this one? We're referring to the third episode in Volume 1, The Witness. The premise of the episode is that a woman is witness to a murder, and then she attempts to escape the killer.
Location, please.
I think the killer's after me.
Right.
We assume that the woman is running from the killer for the whole episode, but toward the end we realize that she's actually been stuck in a time loop. Once again, this is definitely a classic sci-fi plot point, but when we find ourselves wondering why something is happening, it can really take us out of the story and make it more difficult to suspend our disbelief. The time loop may be an interesting addition to the story, but we still don't understand why the episode's main character is actually stuck in it. Number 9. In the 12th episode of Season 1, Fish Night, we meet two door-to-door salesmen as they're driving in the desert when their car breaks down.
But somebody will come along and give us a lift.
The men are discussing that this particular desert used to actually be home to the ocean and aquatic creatures.
All of this was water, full of fantastical creatures.
In a strange series of events, sea creatures appear in the sky. Is the sky filled with sea creatures? Are the men simply remembering the days when these creatures were in the desert? Are we witnessing some sort of hallucinogenic experience? To us viewers, it's very unclear. Yet just when it seems clear that the sharks are imaginary in some capacity, the men get attacked by them. Sure, this seems like a metaphor of some kind, and the episode is definitely very cool to look at. But it can be difficult to take in the true meaning when so many things are left unclear. Number 10. Ice Age is so unexplained. No, not this Ice Age. We totally understand that one. We're talking about Love, Death, and Robots episode 16, Ice Age. The one with the freezer. When Rob and Gail move into a new apartment, they discover a tiny civilization that's living in the freezer.
This makes no sense.
You think?
Yeah.
So little Thumbelina-sized people live in this freezer. This is never explained, but okay. We're willing to accept this in favor of the cool storyline. Yet the freezer universe moves through actual historical time periods super quickly. As viewers, we're as in the dark as Rob and Gail are about what's going on behind this freezer door and why. But this mostly feels like a plot hole to us. Number 11. If you had the thought, wait, where did Otto come from? While watching Love, Death, and Robots, that means you watched the Volume 1 episode, The Dump, and you are as confused as we are. The episode is about Dave who lives in the dump and also has a monster made of trash protecting him named Otto. We have about as little explanation as we could for a trash monster. We don't know where he came from, why he exists, or why he protects Dave and destroys others. Did you notice these plot holes? Can you explain them? Seriously, we want to know. Let's talk about it in the comments. And if you love videos like this one, like and subscribe to The Things Animated for all the latest on your fave animated series.